Howdy all. Welcome back to my channel. This is AR Cavley, and these are the further adventures of Russell Miranda, Gunslinger. Now I have decided, I realized I hadn't really been giving him advancements like I would if I were GMing for somebody else. So I went ahead and I made a, well, you're supposed to have a picture. Oh, here we go. I made kind of a new card with the with new symbols on it here. Uh, Caw, Caw, and the bloody hearts, and the just the cooler graphics kind of match the theme better, and some different icons for the Tricube's tail system. You can be strong, agile, or crafty. He's brawny, so he's got a fist there, and he's been riding on the range a lot. He's been chasing people down in episodes. He's been leading his horses through woods and on chases. So I thought I would go ahead and give him a horseman perk to represent his skill at the trail. I considered making Ensign, his horse, an asset on its own, or um, which would play out a little bit different narratively and mechanically. But I figured he's a lot of his experiences outside of Ensign. He's a gunslinger after all, so he knows how to ride a horse. And over his weeks and months on the trail working for Gilead, he has learned how to ride better. And this may help him, as we left off in the last adventure. He had blown through a tribe full of flesh mask wearing cannibals who kept an old, rusted, not working like flintlock pistol, but it had the sigil of a knight of Arthur Eld, the former husband, if the stories are true, of Auntie Maud, the vampiress who is possibly now slaughtering the people back in the village. So it was, as we left, it was getting towards night. It was going to be maybe a race for him to get back in time. All right, so now that's taken care of. It's a new session. It's been a while, so he's going to get a. Oh, oops. He's going to get one of his Ka back, and I think I'm going to give him one of his resolve tokens back too, because he was, after all, it was not really that big of a. It was a stone that hit him or something like that. Now, if I can find my other deck. All right. My heart deck has disappeared. I guess I should find that. Okay, it was just hiding in my Zoom. All right. Anyway, as I was saying, the injury that cost him a resolve point was uh, like getting hit with a stone in the leg or something. So at the time, it hurt. It was enough to cause him to limp, but it's been long enough, especially after he's riding on the horse and everything, to um, give him back, fill up his resolve and his Ka. Now he's going to try to race back to the village. Of course, he could. He may want to try racing back to the vampire's den instead. Maybe catch her there, keep her from going in when the sun rises. No, no. He's going to go. He's going to race back and remember the face of his father and try to protect the villagers. Just referring back to my notes, didn't actually expand on them, write them down like I usually do, so they're a little scarce. I called the vampire previously anti-mod, but it's anti-Marge, not mod. And Marcalos is the elder of the village, and his wife is Gaelisa. And the hunter Eldunak is the one who helped him along the way. All right, so we will start off with Russell rushing through the darkening woods. And of course, he's going to have some kind of trouble, right? Things are screaming. Maybe Auntie Marge knows what he's up to. She is, after all, clever. She's been at this for a while now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shuffle. I'm going to recall and shuffle all these cards. Okay, so shuffle. And I'm going to shuffle them twice because I always get face cards. So as he's racing back towards the village with the pistol tucked into his satchel, he must. Oh, look at that, an ace. All right, so the scene changes. So definitely something. I'll roll with it, but I tell you, those cards, at least these VTT cards. All right, so it's a 1d6 to see what happens. A 3. So 3 is a roll on the twist table. We'll bring up this twist table. And let's see what we get. We'll roll ourselves a D66. And gives us a 6 and a 2. A 6 and a 2 on the twist table here. I think maybe the horror. We'll see what the symbols say, but I think probably because we're kind of in a horror scenario. So fantasy is a torch. And I guess that guy's a like a spy versus spy. Let's see. A 6-2. Yeah, he does. He looks kind of like some kind of agent, like the guy from Half-Life. Or a starfighter. Okay, I'm gonna rule out the starfighter. Torches or Man in Black. Torches or Man in Black. All right, we're gonna go with Man in Black. But we're gonna use Man in Black in a in a more genre appropriate way. So as he's riding the through the forest, trying to get back as fast as he can, he he has to rear up Ensign as in front of him, suddenly standing along the little game trail that he'd kind of been following through to get to the path. There's a man or a figure in a tall black cloak, and he can't get any details except that the man he figures it's a man because he's kind of big. The man is standing directly in front of him. Certainly no accident. Well, Russell doesn't have time for him, so he's just going to try to ride around him. He's going to try to ride around him. Well, let's see. I think I was supposed to draw up again, interpret the result, and draw again. Yeah, so there's a twist. So that twist is going to be there's a new person on the scene. A standard agile challenge. All right. Well, I think that agile challenge is going to be him trying to get around this guy because one, he doesn't like the look of him. In fact, just looking at the guy, the way he's standing completely stock still, his black robe is not even twisting in the wind. So Russell's just going to try to steer around him and get to the village. He's wondering if this is not one of Auntie Marge's some kind of thrall or bodyguard, assassin, something like that, sent to do him harm. All right, so it's going to be agile, so it's going to be him steering his horsey with a standard. Yeah, so 5 or 6 to win the scene, 2d6 for agility. All right, an exceptional success. So I think in this way, not only does he get around the man in the black cloak, as he races by, the man reaches out and he can see that Russell can see that the man's face is pale and monstrous looking, just like he is some kind of vampire thrall, and his fangs are out, and he has a bestial look to his face. And Russell's going to, well, he's just going to try to blow a hole in the thing's face as he's riding away. He's really, he just wants to get away, but these guys can go pretty fast sometimes. So he's going to draw his big irons, and he's going to try to shoot this dude in the face. But because he's a twist, and obviously some kind of vampire dude, I'm going to give him 2 effort tokens. Russell, because of his role, is going to be able to get by and keep ahead of him pretty well. But I have a feeling that Monsieur Vampire is going to come back. All right, 2d6 with the big irons. He whips his pistol out and tries to put some lead in the dude's face. Okay, so 6. So he gets so as he rides by, and as this vampire thrall thing, this man leaps at him, while the man it looks like he's actually flying in the air. His leap is so powerful, but Russell is able to steer Ensign out of the way with the skill of a horseman, of a gunslinger, and he puts a bullet into the creature's chest, right dead center. It's enough to knock him out of the air, and he lands and rolls in the dirt, or in the bracken, in the underbrush of the forest, and Russell Miranda is off like a shot even before this creature can get back to his feet. So that's a win for Russell. And I'm just going to carry on his exceptional success with riding to bring him back to the village in time. And as he approaches the village, he hears the screams, he hears running, and he has a feeling his gunslinger tactical training tells him that whatever that creature was back there definitely was put there to try to delay him. And as he's clomping through the forest, turning around racing along the path back to the village, he suddenly wonders if Auntie Marge maybe knows what he was up to. Did she send that guy out there for him specifically? Or did she just have thralls through the forest outside the village looking for him to stop him? But he puts such distractions aside as he comes bursting into the village. What do we see? What do we see in this village? What does the scene look like? Well, we know there's screams, so obviously something's going on. Well, let's give it another challenge. Let's see what happens. A hard agile challenge. So what would be a hard agile challenge? Well, probably as soon as he gets racing up into the village, he's immediately attacked. I'm gonna roll 1 die 6, and we'll just say the higher, the worse it is for him. You know, because obviously Auntie Marge has thralls working for her, and she may be involved herself. Let's see. 5's pretty bad. So as he races through, he breaks through the tree line into the clearing in which the village is built, and he barely has time to take in the scene. He sees others dressed in these robes, not quite as intimidating as the guy that he met on the road, but filthy rags and people who look like maybe they had come from the village before and have been turned loose on their family, on their surviving tribesmen, as they are howling and screaming and trying to attack people. Well, these thrall vampires are not as strong as Auntie Marge, obviously, and the tribesmen are fighting back fairly well, but it's bloody, and there's they are powerful, and Russell barely has time to keep that when he is set upon by these vampires who are obviously expecting him. And 2 spears thrown by these snarling vampires, 2 large primitive stone-tipped spears come hurling at him from the woods to his side, and he must evade, and he must try to fight them because they're immediately on him. All right, now this is difficult agile, so that's going to make it a 6. Oh, look at that. All right. Let's see. Should he use... No, he might need it. I was going to see if he might use his horsemanship to get himself in a better position, but he's just started the battle and he had a good roll. So one spear flies at him, and without thinking, he just raises his pistol and he shoots it. The stone tip of the spear explodes in a shower of sparks, and the spear deviates. And the other spear, he's able to rein Ensign out of the way, and he puts two more bullets into these thralls. And between his marksmanship as a gunslinger and the fact that his pistols are from the Eld, these two that had been set aside or had been set to ambush him fall screaming and crumbling away into dust as his bullets pierce their hearts. Now he's looking around. He's looking around for Auntie Marge to see if she's here. He has a feeling that she is actually guiding the attack. Let's see. I'm going to give him a standard. I'm going to have him roll a standard crafty roll to see if he can maybe pinpoint or get a clue to where she's at. He doesn't see her immediately. What he does notice is that several of the villagers are they're gathered around Old Mother and Old Father's hut in the center of the village, like making a last stand there against a group of these thralls. Who was it? Marcalos, the elder Marcalos and Gaelisa. Eldunak is making a good name for himself, fighting off with the knocking these thralls about with his club. Oh yeah, let's see. He is. Does he see? Does he get a clue, or does he see Auntie Marge directing things? Okay, nothing there, and I don't think any of his um, perks are going to help with that. So no, he does not immediately. He doesn't immediately see where she's at. He has a feeling that she is here somewhere, because these creatures, they look very wild and bloodthirsty, yet they do seem to be working together in a way that he wouldn't think they would, given how crazy-eyed they look. So he charges through the horde towards the center, and he's going to try his... Well, I'm not sure if using the symbol would necessarily work on these guys, because everything's kind of this crazy melee. All right. Well, he's going to ride along, and he's probably used a lot of ammo shooting up the tribe, and then now back here. So he may want to be careful. Start counting them bullets. But he's going to try to force his way through these thralls. There's not quite as many of them. He's taken out some, and Eldunak has killed some, and some of the other warriors in the village have. But there are other villagers who are dead. They're not moving. They've obviously been having a hard time of it while he was trying to recover this pistol. So he's going to try to break through, and he's going to try to break through and hold the pistol up like a cross, to his faith in the line of Eld will. He's going to see if it'll hold these creatures back or not. All right. So let's give him another agile as he's trying to ride his horses through. He's kind of he has surprise and a good horse. So I'm going to give him a 4 on that. All right, so an extreme success. He manages to get through and he leaps off of Ensign's back. He's got a pistol in one hand and he's got the ancient pistol with the sigil of the knight on it, and he holds it up high and he calls out, "In the name of the Eld, in the name of the White, back to the darkness, you vomitous creatures, back!" And he holds this thing up. And let's see how that works. Let's see how that works for young Russel Miranda. Oh, okay. All right. So either these creatures are too wild, or at this point he's saying he has the faith in them, and some of them do stop and snarl and pause and hesitate, but it doesn't. He was kind of hoping for like a big flash and that they'd all run away or get burned into dust. But it does give the defenders time to gather their to regroup and to get their weapons ready again before they come in. I'm going to say, though, that on a 4, 5, or 6, him holding that aloft is going to draw out Auntie Marge. 4, 5, or 6. No. All right. So he knows that she's still watching somewhere, and maybe she doesn't realize what he was doing, or maybe she doesn't want to get close. One way or the other, he's fighting. He's helping the villagers fight off these creatures. Some of them just look like cadavers, and some of them have those same tattoos as these villagers. And the conclusion is clear. And who knows how long she's been keeping them. He doesn't know. These thralls could be hundreds of years old, however long she's been living in the forest, feeding off of these people. And the fight is on. Let's see. Should we draw a card? Should we draw a card to see? Let's draw a card. We're going to draw a card for this scene. See how it plays out. See what it is. A 6. Whoops, no. Get back. All right. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. I must have clicked something, but the initial card was a 6 of clubs, which is a standard brawny challenge. So Russell drives through the ring of these vampire thralls that are hissing and closing in on the villagers. He sees that Marcalo is swinging this large two-handed axe with a steel head, so it must have come from Gilead, unlike the stone weapons that a lot of the other warriors and people trying to defend themselves are using. Eldunak is swinging with some deadly effect these stone-headed clubs, hammers, cleaving and bashing in. And Russell holds up the pistol and he tries to he tries to invoke the name of Arthur Eld, hoping that there will be, that the sigil will drive them away. If the sigil is supposed to drive Auntie Marge away, then hopefully it will drive them away. And so he is holding it up, and calling upon them, but it doesn't help him. And they are immediately on him. It's a pretty big group. He As they come charging in, he shoots at them, and he managed to get a couple bullets in there. He can hardly miss. But right before they swarm over, he's still holding up the sigil, trying to call on the name, invoking Arthur Eld and the power of the white to little effect. But he puts his pistol away, or he holsters his pistol and draws the the knife from he draws his Bowie knife from the Deschaines and goes to town. Okay, that's not the best roll. Let's see. Could use a perk, but I think at this point, because it's at the beginning of the battle, I'm just gonna wait. So he is not able to get any good purchase as he fights these creatures. At least initially, there's too many of them. They swarm him, and he's barely able to keep out of their reach. And they've got him back on his back foot. Uh, he's having to defend himself, and so I think this time, because those he rolled two ones, that's not good. So I'm going to make this a difficulty 6 to defend. And no. Okay, but I am going to use a caw point, I think, to keep from getting bitten and attacked. Uh, so Russell, he uses his iron fist, and as one is coming up on his left side, he cracks it across the jaw with a powerful hook, and sends it flying into another one that was charging, getting ready to leap on him, and they fall down in a tangled mess together. And he gets ready. It gives them time, or gives him time to get back into position and start looking for necks to slash and hearts to stab. And he looks around, and it's hectic. He can hear the screams. There's um, Marcalo's axe thunking into vampire body parts, and women screaming, the vampires hissing and making this strange bestial roar. And he gets ready to go again. Oh, look at that. It's like a super duper success, exceptional success. And I think that can only mean one thing. As he's getting ready to lunge his Bowie knife into the exposed throat of a nearby vampire thrall, instead he feels his gunslinger blood start to boil. He feels something tingling deep inside of him. The power of the white, the blessing from his bloodline, he doesn't know. But he holds up that rusted old pistol with the silver sigil in it, and he calls out, "In the name of the Eld, I banish you to the pits of hell." And suddenly the sigil flares like the sun, and it casts everything in the village is casting a shadow in this bright light. The vampire thralls that are before him immediately burst into flame and disappear in swirls of embers and ash. The ones that are not so close, they start to smolder and burn, and they scream and hiss, and they start running off in all directions, completely terrified, completely out of control. Whatever control Auntie Marge had over them is broken in the face of the power of the Sigul? Or is it the power of his faith in the white, his faith in the line of Eld? He turns, he swings it around, showing it to remaining vampires who are have not run away yet. And each time he brings it into their view, they can't help but look up, and they hiss and scream. Another one bursts into flame. Two more go running, screaming off into the forest. And just like that, the village is quiet. The only noises left are the soft sobbing and the ragged breaths of the survivors. And they all stare at him, and they stare at the pistol, this old flintlock-looking pistol he's got in his hand, staring at the magic, at the miracle that they have just seen in the name of Arthur Eld, in the name of the White. Mark Hollow hobbles over using his axe as a crutch, and he says, "You are truly a gunslinger. You truly wield the power of the White." And he puts his hand on Russell's shoulder, and he says, "We've all been through much tonight, but there's much yet to do for you, Gunslinger." And Russell nods his head. Let's see if this brings out... Did this bring out Auntie Marge? She may respond to it, or she may just want to hide from it now that she's seen some actual power. Let's say on a 5 or a 6. Auntie Marge comes out in some form at this point. Okay, no, she doesn't. She hasn't survived this long by being foolish. She understands that valor or discretion is the better part of valor, it would seem. But Mark Hollow carries on, and he says, "You've got to face her tonight. In the den. Well, you still have the pistol before she comes up with a way to escape, or some way to deprive you of it. While she's running, while her forces are scattered. Eldunak can lead you there. Can lead you there even in the darkness. Either destroy her in her lair, or maybe you can prevent her from gaining entrance and leave her in the sunlight to let her burn like the demon she is. Go, Gunslinger. Remember the face of your father." Now Russell sees that, or he hears that, and he nods to himself. He knows that the elder is right. He knows that he has to press the attack, and he knows that it's going to be deadly. She's going to be a cornered foe, a powerful vampiress of legend. And he's supposed to track her down to her lair in the dark. So he quickly reloads, hops on Ensign, and he ties up Bear in the village. "If I'm not back, he's yours." He takes a quick drink of water to wet his whistle, meditates, takes some deep breaths to steel himself. And then he looks at Eldunak, who's on his own village pony. "Let us take the path to the end of the clearing, and let us remember the faces of our fathers." Yeah! All right. We'll call it there. A little behind the scenes secret. Something screwed up with my microphone, and I kind of had to re record the audio for like the last 10 minutes. So if it doesn't quite match up, that's why. But I think I pretty much said what I said the first time. Anyway, I hope you had as much fun as I did. And come back again for the further adventures of Russel Miranda, Gunslinger. Happy gaming.